live.
All right. So we are are trying to keep from getting in a wreck here while we're driving.
This can be used against you,
Yes, it
court of
could.
law.
Court of law. So the GPS wants me to go the road most traveled. And everything I think in our culture is kind of designed to do this. So I just want everybody, I mean, Megan and I decided to go ahead and record this ahead of time because last week I realized the book is so heavy, we need to kind of relate it to how our lifestyle is. And this is exactly how our lifestyle is, like what we're doing right now. Like nobody has time to do anything. They're all mobile. And even when you're not mobile, you're busy either in your life or whatever. So anything we say or do is going to be harder, right, Megan, to kind of
Hmm.
implement.
Hmm.
And what Megan and I figured out every time we talk is like some of the stuff we talk about is really figuring out how to adapt the new concepts that we read about and study and how do I make that like part of my life. So that's why I want to just back up a little bit and let you guys know we're going to talk more about that. And I hope it's more digestible for what you're
Well,
doing.
I think it's also recognizing that our life is so much not this. Because I think for me, it's just like these concepts have been out there, they exist. I just have to go find them. They're out there. I just have to
Right,
be in them rather than actually there is
right.
development in humanity. And if I partake in it, we got to build it and create it in ourselves in order to be able to experience it. It's not out there to go buy it off the shelf and download it onto our operating system. It doesn't quite work like that in human terms.
Oh my God, I love how you said that because that's how it feels.
You still got to learn
I
how to,
wish I could just have a pill, right?
yeah,
And just swallow a pill, make it better.
right. But because we're in the super highway of commerce, the structure's already been built. That's the structure we're
Yep.
traveling on right now. And this is what we're talking about yesterday of how do you exist in the current structure, maintain your vision of what could be, and find the off ramp to get to that when that's maybe a dirt road.
Or basically like what just happened to me, the GPS is trying to take me away I don't want to go. And even though I picked the route, something interferes, I have to stop, and then it reroutes me again to what they think is the easiest road. It may be the easiest or it may be the most comfortable, but it's definitely not the path I want to take because the journey isn't how I want to experience life. And I think
Oh,
that's the biggest thing. Like, how do I want to experience my life? Because even if I'm not where I want to be, right? I know that how I'm getting there is more important than me actually arriving.
because if you arrive and it's not what you want, then you're stuck again and you got to start all over. And that's where people get upset and frustrated over our materialistic consumerist culture.
Yeah. So I think this book is so full of truths. And did we get through the preface even,
We
Megan?
got,
I think we did.
I mean, we're working through the first chapter. I'm going to pick up where we left off
Okay.
last week. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, ready.
There's nothing wrong in wanting to get rich. The desire for riches is really the desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life, and that desire is praiseworthy. The man who does not desire to live life more abundantly is abnormal, and so the man who does not desire to have money enough to buy all he wants is abnormal. There are three motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, we live for the soul. No one of these is better or holier than the other. All are alike desirable, and no one of the three, body, mind, or soul, can live fully if either of the others is cut short of full life and expression. It is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny mind or body, and it is wrong to live for the intellect and deny body or soul. We are all acquainted with the loathsome consequences of living for the body and denying both mind and soul. And we see that real life means the complete expression of all that man can bring forth through body, mind, and soul. Whatever he can say, no man can be really happy or satisfied unless his body is living fully in every function and unless the same is true of his mind and his soul. Wherever there is unexpressed possibility or function not performed, there is unsatisfied desire. Desire is possibility seeking expression or function seeking performance, which is why we're here in the first place, because we have a desire for
Yeah,
something different.
right,
Man
right.
cannot,
And what I like about,
go
can you
ahead.
hear me, Megan?
Yep.
What I like about that, that's super important, is there's this assumption that we shouldn't be in a struggle. And what he just said, basically, no matter what you do, you're going to end up in a struggle. If you honor just your body, you're going to eventually feel so bad because you're not on your path of purpose, or you feel like you're not growing spiritually, right? I might have all the comforts in the world, but I don't feel like fulfilled, right? And then you can be like fully purposeful. Now I'm Saint Teresa and I'm half like dying half the time, right? And now I'm being, it's arguing in my head. Well, in order for me to be a really good person, I should become a saint, right? Not have any materialism, be fully spiritual and evolved or whatever, right?
Trust that when I
And
need the
what's the
money,
other
it's just
one?
going to fall from the sky.
Yeah, which maybe it did for her. I mean, all the stories I've heard about that, that happens. But we're talking about us. I mean, I'm not her. And I'm not this other person that doesn't want to have any soul either. Like my struggle, and I think you can relate to this, has been really like trying to make one of those work instead of seeing that no, no, no. You're here on the planet to walk that struggle of figuring out what's the third one. We got spirit, body. What was the
Mind,
other one?
body, mind, and
Mind.
soul.
Right. Right. So I could have all the comforts, but if my mind's not stimulated and I feel like I'm not learning something like an insurance, right? I love how it's kept my brain going, right? But maybe, I don't feel like I'm following my spiritual part. Or Dominique and I were talking the other day how much every time she gets to talking to somebody, she feels super moved to help them. And then she ends up not writing a policy because she's talking to them about all this other stuff that they need help in their life for, right? So I think those kind of conflicts is what we're dealing with. Like, how do you manage that? Well, the first way you manage it is realizing that it's okay that you're struggling with it, for me.
Part of the
It's
path.
not bad. It's part of the path. It's part of the path to want more purpose when you have a lot of money. It's part of the path when you have a lot of purpose to wish you had more money. And it's part of the path to realize that your body's wired to feel better from learning. And if you're not learning, it doesn't matter how evolved spiritually you are or how much money you have. If you feel like you're not evolving and learning as you live in a body in this existence, you're not going to feel good.
Man cannot live fully in body without good food, comfortable clothing, warm shelter, and without freedom from excessive toil. Rest and recreation are also necessary to his physical life. He cannot live fully in mind without books and time to study them, without opportunity for travel and observation, or without intellectual companionship. To live fully in mind, he must have intellectual recreations and must surround himself with all the objects of art and beauty he is capable of using and appreciating. To live fully in soul, man must have love, and love is denied expression by poverty. A man
Wow, read that again.
to live fully in soul, man must have love, and love is denied expression by poverty.
Wow, love is denied expression by poverty. I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, if
What do
you're
you
always
think?
trying to just put food in your belly and make sure the people around
Oh,
you have food in their
right,
belly, you don't have
right,
extracurricular time to worry about other aspects of survival. You're surviving.
right.
You certainly don't have the
Interesting.
capacity to build up a.
Plus, I think like I was raised to think that poor people are nicer and therefore they're more loving. Were you raised that way?
I think more mine was like, we can't do that. We can't have that because we don't have the money. Like, we don't have the means to create a life where we could have that if we do want it. We just don't allow ourselves to want it
Right.
because we don't have that as an option. A
Hmm.
man's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits on those he loves. Love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in giving. The man who has nothing to give cannot fill his place as a husband or father, as a citizen, or as a man. It is in the use of material things that a man finds full life for his body, develops his mind, and unfolds his soul. It is therefore of supreme importance to him that he should be rich. It is perfectly right that you should desire to be rich if you are a normal man or woman. You cannot help doing so. It is perfectly right that you should give your best attention to the science of getting rich, for it is the noblest and most necessary of all studies. If you neglect this study, you are not derelict in your duty to yourself, to God, and to humanity, for you can render to God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. End of chapter 1.
I love that. End of chapter 1, and that's enough too. Oh my God. So I just drove by, I was thinking about abundance. And there's this big sign that says free coffee promo today. So guess what? I pulled over. Awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody having us to check this out. I hope these little tidbits and conversations help you. We're doing it raw, and we all want to be rich, and it's for these reasons. So I'm excited.
Mwah.
So it's your divine right, remember, to thrive. So let's do it. Love you guys.